Hey, what's poppin'? Don't mind me, just watch it. Make a nigga run out of options. But anywho, so last time we left off, which this will be part 0.5, by the way. So yeah, there won't be any more like half ones after this. So yeah. Now time to fix our battery setting. Oh god. I know that we waste like a solid 20 seconds just by doing that, but anywho. Deku had just handed his dad a plate of the Hood Classic. If you don't know what I mean, I am talking about cut up hot dogs and macaroni. So yeah. But Hisashi, he hadn't eaten in 2 days because Inko took a break off of hero work. So Deku wasn't able to make Hisashi anything. So Hisashi, he scarfed it down like real fast. And Hisashi, and I was trying to look for a picture of Lubu as a kid to show you what Deku looks like, but yeah. I felt bad for Oichi, because if you haven't heard the story, something really bad happened. Like real bad. Like, I'm gonna be honest, that man, ooh, I practically got my feels, bruh. And I really hadn't well talked or anything to the man. Like, I really don't know him, but I just felt bad for him. Just because I was reading Japanese newspaper. Look, okay, you gotta be kind of... But, let's just say Hisashi looks like that. So, essentially, Deku with pure white hair. Or not, pure black hair. But yeah. And he has, like, a slender build. He really doesn't have all too much muscle. But Deku, he's just like that. There's plenty more where that came from. Make sure to chew. And just as he says that, Hisashi slightly coughs as he chokes on something. Deku, he winds back his hand. Bop! He says, thank you. That hurt. But thank you. He says, yeah, slow down, Dad. And he smiles. And Hisashi is just like, what did I ever do to deserve this cute little bean? My God! I can't believe that thing came out of me! Like... He was just like, how did that cute little thing come out of a 9-inch part of me? Like, how in the world? He's just like anime Ghibli tears, bruh. He's like, Dad, what's wrong? He says, oh, nothing. And like Adam. So this nigga is like looking at him. He like crouches down to Izuku's level. He says, now if Cain and Abel were like you, Bible would have ended a lot different. In the boo, he says, I bet it would have, Adam. And Shiva, he's just sitting on his pillow and he's just like, this kid, he amazes me. He keeps all that hate and anger tucked away. If I were him, I would let it all explode like a powder keg. He truly does have your calmness, huh? Lubu. He says, yeah. He's like, aw. And then Loki, he chimes in and he's like, aw, what about me? What about my joking personality? And everybody just looks at him and they say, anyway, back to what we were saying. And Loki, he just is like anime chibi crying. Just like, why do you guys neglect me? And they're just like, we don't neglect you. We just despise you. And then Sasaki, he says, they are true, you know. We kind of do despise you. But we still like having your company, Loki. You provide us with a good sense of humor, shall we say. And Poseidon, he says, hate to admit it, but old man Sasaki is correct. And Sasaki, he says, I'm not that old, you know. They all just look at him. He's like, nigga, you died, trained in the afterlife, and then your 60-year-old self was considered your prime. Elaborate. And they're all just like, strange. But anywho, time skip to when Inko gets home. Deku, he had fully cleaned and everything, and he let his dad just rest so that way his dad could heal. Keep in mind, Deku was 4 at the time. And Inkoshi got home at around 1. And she says, Brad, I'm taking you to a park. Because let's say there's a female hero named Maleficus. Yeah, let's call her that. But her quirk, due to a side effect of that, she has 2 personalities, a common caring one, and then another one who's just like, murder, 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 not mutter, 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 murder, 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 red rum, red rum, red rum, you feel me? But anywho, cough, cough, when I'm legally allowed to drink I will ask for red rum, and everybody's gonna ask me, why do I like to drink red rum? And I will say, because murder. And they're like, huh? And then I will point out the fact that red rum is murdered spelled backwards. But anywho, before I develop a unhealthy habit of drinking, let's go to Deku when he gets to the park. So Deku, he essentially is wearing Lubu's getup, but he has like friggin' Sasaki's shoes or whatever he has on his feet, whatever the heck those things are. He has those on his feet, and they like go up to where like his knee. And Deku, he has the black Air Forces on. By the way, just for your information, what you think, nigga? I'm not gonna add in the black Air Forces. What you think I'm gonna make this nigga wear? Light up Skechers? Like, bruh, you must be mistaken. But anywho, Deku, being Deku, he says, ma'am, where is the person in question? And Inko, she says, shut it, brat, she'll be here any moment. Excuse me? What in the night? Nope. Slimy. Strangeness. Anywho. Da-da-da-da. Let's go with this one. So, Malfeasance, she looks like this. And, Deku, he's wearing a shirt, so let's go. I wonder what. What should this nigga wear?
Why'd you put the dog in the bed?
What do you mean?
What I tell you about eating in here?
I didn't.
You lie.
Oh, that.
Yeah, oh, that.
Sorry for the interruption.
I don't care.
Of course you don't.
Get in there. Come on.
But, anywho, people. So, she's like, oh, Inko. Oh, yeah, and he's wearing, this hoodie. So, yeah. Yep, we're gonna go with that. Cause, oh yeah, and by the way, the What If Deku Matter will be coming out like after this. So yeah. Anyhow, so Deku, he says, "Hello, ma'am," and he bows his head. And she's like, "Oh, no need for formalities." And he says, "Actually, there is. When speaking to a female, one should have proper elegance and respect." And she just goes, "Inko, are you sure your son is only 4? She says, "Yep." Putting on a facade, shall we say. Or wait a second, no, that's the correct word. She's putting on a facade. So yeah. And so she says, "Well, my daughter's over there playing on the swings. So, let your guys' little play date begin." And he says, "Alright." Deku, he walks over. And she was like coming by to meet her mother. And like Deku, he had only like walked a couple of steps forward. And girl looking like this, she says, "Hey," making the pose like that. And then her other personality kicks in, and the hoodie comes off, and she like hips her hair around, and she's like, "Hey," seductive voice and all. Deku, he blushes, looks away, inhales sharply, and says, "Hello." Shakes hand. She goes back to normal, and she says, "Oh, so you're the..." Nah, I'm not. No more female voice. "So you're the boy Mary. So you're the boy I'm supposed to meet." And Deku, he just says, "Yeah. Hey, what's your name?" And she says, "Oh, my name's Sayuri." Don't you dare give me that Doki Doki Literature Club crap. But anywho, actually, I have an idea. Hana. Yes, it works. And he says, "So, what do you want to do?" And she's like, "Oh, I thought we could talk about our favorite pro heroes." And then her other personality kicks in, and she's like, "I want to fight." And Deku, he's just sitting there just like perplexed on how she works. And he says, "So, what's your quirk?" And she says, "Maleficent." Going back to her normal mode. And she's just like, "I have 2 personalities." And he's like, "Well, isn't that perfectly clear?" So yeah. And Deku, sorry. And she's like, "And with my normal personality, I shoot light beams and can heal. But..." And then she switches personalities and says, "With my little more rowdy side, I can give damage buffs, and I increase my overall damage. And she says, flexing her muscles that her quirk gives her. Deku, he says, cute. And she's like, huh? What was that? And he says, nothing. But they play for a little bit. Hana occasionally trying to punch him. Deku bobbing and weaving like he got Ultra Instinct. He says, nah, woman, I'm the reincarnation of Goku as well. And the reason why he's dodging is because without knowing and without Sasaki knowing, he's using Sasaki's ability to read opponents' movements by the slightest muscle flex or muscle movement or whatever. And then Sasaki, he finally realizes, like the last time she tries to hit him, and he's like, he's already using my ability. And Loki says, oh, you're just now figuring it out? And he's just like, wait, you, of all people, noticed? And he says, no, actually, Lubu pointed it out to me. And he says, well, it was quite easy to see, sort of, but I guess seeing your own technique in front of you is quite perplexing, huh? And Adam just pipes in and he says, yep, that's what Zeus thought. And then Shiva, he pops in. He's just like, who knows what the old man was thinking? The old geezer was probably thinking about getting his rocks off to Valkyrie. Or to the Valkyrie. And then, Labu, he like crouches down and he gets a good look at Hana. And he says, she's cute, I'm gonna be honest. And, Sasaki, he's like, don't go perking on little girls. He's like, I'm not Edward Allan Poe. He's like, true, that nigga was creepy. And, oh yeah, by the way, if you don't know why I made that joke, quick history lesson for you younger people, and for you people that don't remember, Edgar Allan Poe was perving on his first cousin when she was only 13. Nigga was strange. Nigga has more issues than me on Father's Day. He left for the milk. Hasn't come back in 16 years. Close to 17, but... yeah. But anywho... no dang, did I just pop it? Yeah, oh well. But anywho. Time skip, 2 years later. Hizashi's condition is getting worse. He now has lung cancer. He's getting treated, but it's not going very well. And Deku, he's taking it really, really hard. Because his dad's really the only one that truly cared about him. Hana, she did slowly start getting feelings for Deku, but she didn't know if he'd feel the same way. Oh, what am I saying? No, she doesn't. Not yet. Well, she has feelings for him, but she doesn't know what they are. Because she's a little kid. And since Hisashi is in the hospital, Deku, he's the one. Inko, she'll break up like beer bottles or bottles of Patron and stuff like that, and like crush the shards up to make them even smaller, and slice Deku up with them. So he kind of has all like the little scars that Sasaki has. And he has a couple of major ones. Well, he only has one major one, and that's the one on his neck. So yeah. But, the heck. Excuse me. Yeah, you guys can hear me. But, that's strange. What the heck? But, anywho. So, Deku. He was just overall taking it hard. But yeah, he has the scar all around the neck. And like Shiva and all of them are just disgusted with Inko fully. And Hisashi. Every day after school, because Deku's 6 at this point, so that means he'd be in first grade? Yeah, first grade? Yeah, 6, because it'd be like the day before his birthday. But Deku, he visits Hisashi like every day, and like every day Hisashi, he starts crying when he sees Deku, because he feels like it's his fault that Deku comes and sees him like this. But Deku, no matter what, he still has a smile on his face, just because he wants his dad to be happy, just because he doesn't want his dad to worry about him. And like Shiva, he can feel just like all of Deku's like anger. And one day, Shiva, he brings it up to everybody, and he says, "Hey, I've been meaning to talk about this for a while. You all can sense his anger too, correct?" And they all say, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "So you all can't sense it to the level that I'm sensing it, huh? His anger rivals that of Hades. It's even more than mine." And that's hard to accomplish. And Lubu, he's just like, Yet he still puts on that smile for his father. That boy has true strength. Something that none of us will ever be able to achieve. Adam, he reminds me of you, you know. He says, And Adam, he goes, Glad to see at least one of my children wasn't tainted. And they say, oh no, he's been tainted, but he still keeps on that smile. It's strange. After what he's been through, the beatings, the amount of times he sold his young body off to older women, it's sad. And by older women, I mean women in the range from 18 to 34 max. Nothing higher. Nothing higher. I'm going to be honest, nothing higher. Just like there's nothing higher than my uncle. But anywho, that was a risky joke. Anywho, Deku, being well, Deku, he goes to his dad, and his dad's birthday is the day before Deku's birthday. But Deku, he gets bullied by Katsumi, so Femme Bakugo. But at school, Deku's cold. He's distant toward everybody. He really doesn't care about anybody else except for his dad's well-being. But he goes and he saved up all the money that he found lying at the park and everything. And it was 1,000 yen. Just to get his dad a get well card, some flowers, a copy of his dad's favorite movie, and his dad's favorite drink. Which is root beer. Fight me. Anywho. And he goes, and his dad, he's pale. He's like skin and bone at this point. And Deku's dad, he's now bald due to the chemo. And he tells the nurse that he's here to visit his dad. And she's like, oh, Izuku, it's you. I take it you're here for your dad's birthday. He says, yep. Got him some flowers, a copy of his favorite movie to watch in his hospital bed, his favorite drink, and a card. And the nurse, she tells Deku, she says, even though you're so young, you're one of the most caring relatives of patients I've ever met. You're really kind, Izuku. And she says, well, right this way to your father's bed. Or your father's room. And he knocks. And Hisashi, he weakly says, come in. And he starts coughing. And Deku, he comes in, he says, hey Dad, happy birthday. He's like, oh, Izuku. Hey, how was school today? He says, great, Dad. And then she leaves and she says, happy birthday, Mr. Hisashi. Or Mr. Midoriya, I mean. And so, Deku, he gives his dad the drink, and he helps Hisashi drink it. So, like, puts the cup up to his mouth and makes sure Hisashi doesn't spill it or drop it, because Hisashi's body is really weak. And she says, "Thank you, son." He says, "You're welcome, Dad. Want me to put in your favorite movie?" He says, "Yes, son." And he puts in the movie into the hospital TV. By the way, it's, let's go with Revenge of the Sith. Yeah, Star Wars, Revenge of the Sith. It's a reference to, well, again, Star Wars, but it's also a nod to the fact that Star Wars was a big inspiration for Hirokoshi, aka the creator of My Hero. That's why everyone speculates that All For One is actually Hisashi Midoriya, because of the Vader being Anakin, and Anakin being the father of Luke, so that means Darth Vader is his father. If you haven't watched a single freaking Star Wars movie in your life, which if you haven't, you must be living under a rock. But, anywho. Deku. He then starts watching the movie with his dad. And give me a second, guys. I'll be right back. From a slurp of my drink. Alright, I'm back. But, anyhow. So, he finishes watching the movie with Hisashi. And then...
What?
Huh? Do what? Sorry, y'all. I was talking to my mom. But, anywho. So then, Deku, he finishes. And Hisashi, he's laughing. And he's like, "Thank you, Izuku, for giving your old man the time of day." He says, "Don't worry, Dad. I'll always be here for you." And he says, "But I won't always be here for you." And Hisashi, he starts coughing and throwing up blood. He says, "Son, I'll always love you. I'll always watch over you, alright?" He says, "Dad?" He says, "I think it's finally my time, you know." He starts, like, coughing up blood. And Deku, he's just shouting for a nurse as loud as he can. He doesn't want his dad to leave him. He wants his dad to stay by his side, to see Deku accomplish what Deku has wanted to do. Make this a world where males aren't looked down upon, where they're treated equally. And Lubu, Adam, Shiva, even Poseidon, everyone is crying. And the nurse, she gets there, and Hisashi, he hugs his son one last time. And Hisashi, he died with Deku in his arms. Deku, at this point, was full on bawling his eyes out. He couldn't take it. Emotionally, he just couldn't. Yes, the rain. It thunders on my window. By the way, if you didn't know, rain is very therapeutic. Especially when gaming. It's amazing. Oh yeah, by the way, I'll probably be doing a live stream tomorrow. Maybe. Probably Avengers, maybe Spider-Man. Depends. I'm talking about Spider-Man 2018, not Miles Morales. Yeah, I've kind of gotten bored of playing Morales. Sad to say, but I have. And then, I might get the City That Never Sleeps. So y'all can have that little experience. But, anywho. I might do a playthrough on that, comment. But, anywho. So, Deku, he's just crying. And, like, the nurse, she's holding Deku. And Deku, he's, like, yelling, "Not on your birthday. No, Dad, don't leave." Bro, am I about to make my own self cry? What is this? But, anywho. Deku at this point is just... he's crying. There's no easier way to put it. The nurse, she's hugging Izuku and crying because Sasaki was one of the kindest patients that they ever had. And Deku, he saw them put him in a body bag. Deku, all of his hate, all of his anger, all of his rage that he had was turned to tears at the sight of his father's death. He wasn't sad. I mean, he wasn't angry. He wasn't annoyed. He felt nothing but sadness and felt his only light, his father, be plucked away from him. Deku, at that time, he finally understood it. And all of the gods, they're just crying because they had gotten attached to Azashi. They had thought that if there was a good father still left in this world, it would be Hizashi. Because no matter what, he kept smiling. And doing no matter what it took for his son. Until the very last breath. But, the nurse, she says, For Izuku, he should probably get going. His mom's probably worried. Deku, he's just thinking she couldn't be more wrong. She didn't even show up on her own husband's birthday. But, Nobunaga, he's like, not Nobunaga, Lubu, he's just like, I think it's time. And everybody else, they just agree. No words are spoken. On his way, back home, Deku, he passes out while walking. And that's because they dragged him into his mindscape. Deku, at this point, was confused and lonely, maddened by what he thought was his weakness towards the situation. And Lubu, he's just standing there with tears in his eyes. Adam, Shiva, Poseidon, Loki, and Sasaki are all doing the same. And they say, kid, you're our reincarnation. And we finally thought that it's about time we start training you. And in unison, they all said, 1 billion years with us each. And he says, huh? I'll be dead by then. Not really caring. And at this point, Deku, he didn't really care. And they were like, no, 1 billion years with us is only a second in the outside world. And Deku, he's like, okay. And they say, we're sorry about your father. It was like a father to us too, you know. If we ever wanted one, he would be the one that we would want. And they all walk up to Deku and surround him in a group hug. And Deku, he starts crying again. All of them just telling him to let it out. His feelings, all of his emotions, everything. Well, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. After that, he spends 6 billion years training. So a total of 6 seconds that he's passed out on the ground. In those 6 seconds, at least 100 people have walked by him. He looks up to all of them as if they were his dads, as if they were his uncles. They were his father figures after his dad had died. They then said, "Alright, you get to pick one of our looks, or combine them in whatever way you see fit." And he says, "I want to look like Lubu." And Lubu, he says, "Called it." And Deku says, "Don't get too cocky." And Lubu says, "Alright." But his body, it immediately looks like a younger Lubu, so Lubu without the beard. And he's 3'7", or 4'1", I'm gonna say. And then he has Shiva's little thing on the wrist, and then he has Poseidon's things on his arms. He doesn't get anything from Loki. And Sasaki, he already has all the scars. But he has all of their abilities, so yeah. Go back to part 1 if you want a run through of their abilities. Well, technically it's part 0, but and keep in mind, this is 0.5. Sorry, y'all. I have to turn on a fan because this is just too much. It's hot. But yeah, so Deku being Deku, then at that point wakes up, seeing that his school clothes are covered in dirt, mud, and are soaking wet. And Deku, every weekend, he has regular playdates with Hana. And Deku, he leaves for the mountains to go train more. Give me a second. Transference jutsu. Transference jutsu complete. Yeah. But anywho, so Deku, he goes to Mount Fuji, and he trains and trains and trains. And Inko, she found out that Hazashi died. She was like, who cares? But she put on a sob story at the wedding. Or not wedding, funeral. And like all the pro heroes, they were sad and stuff. And they were,
You need to go to bed. You have a doctor's appointment in the morning.
Okay.
An early one at that.
Okay.
So I mean, you need to go to bed.
Leave the light on.
No, go to bed. I'll take your phone.
Sorry, y'all, being interrupted yet again, but see ya. Just kidding. Give me a second. Cause my dumbass crackheaded motherfucking bitch nigga cocksucking mother. Sorry, I'm very annoyed with her. I mean, she acts like we get along, and as if I will have a perfect little relationship with my mother. I'm going to be honest. I hate her. She doesn't even pay attention to me. No matter what. She gets things for me to keep me occupied. Busy. Or busy work, shall we say. But if I ask her for something, she'll get annoyed to where I can't even talk to her. And she wonders where I get it from. She's quite a dumbass now, isn't she? Give me a second. And sorry for the pausing. Give me a second. Okay. We can stop the SMR now. Sorry. Also, I had to take a piss. But, anywho. Deku. Sorry, apparently I had to fart too. But, anywho. So, Deku, he goes and, so she puts on like a facade at the wedding, her being Inko. And Deku, he, sorry, is sort of just, Maleficence, because that's her hero name. Her real name will be Hayori. She asks where Izuku is, and she says Izuku ran away. And Hana, she heard this, and she immediately was crying. However, she knew that Hana liked Izuku, and then Hana, her personality switches, and she says, I'll make sure I get back that lug nut no matter what. Even if it breaks all of my bones. And all the and all the heroes, they're just like amazed at her determination. So yeah. But anywho, Deku is 6. It's been a day. He's been killing boars, everything. And like everyone, they're talking to him. And he's just learning how to use all of their abilities. Well, mastering their abilities, shall we say. So yeah. Alright. I'm awake. Did I say awake? But, anywho. Sorry, y'all. I had to clear my throat. Anywho. So, Deku and Hana, she's training her body. And Femme Bakugo, she did go to the same school as Hana and Deku. So, Femme Bakugo, she said, "Hey, Hana, where's the useless Deku?" And she says, "His name is Izuku, and he's gone." And she says, "About time the useless one ran off. Where'd he go to? America." And she says, "No, Katsumi, he's gone." And she's like crying. And Katsumi, she's just like, "You're joking for attention." And she says, "He's dead, Katsumi." And then her personality switches to her more rowdy tomboy side and says, "Yeah, the meathead's gone. But if he is alive, I'll do whatever it takes. Break all my bones to save him." Deku, let's fast forward 5 years. He has the body of Poseidon, but just a little bit more, shall we say. He'll get to my next point soon. And he'll have a 12-pack. See? And he created Lubu's clothes and like the clothes that he wanted to wear. So yeah. And he's fluent in everyone's weapon, but he mainly uses his hands. But Deku, he goes and he yeah. So he goes and he kills a bear. He's just killing everything. And he keeps in mind that he wasn't weak enough to save his father from his mother. And fake heroes like her, it drives him to be the strongest, to be a demon, to be the flying general, Lubu. The man who detests mankind, the gods the most. Cough, cough, the gods being the heroes. Adam. The man who destroys for fun. And creates to undo what he did. Shiva. The man who killed his own brother because he felt his brother was not worthy of this title. Poseidon. The man who plays tricks. The man who's fought the god of thunder on multiple occasions, Loki, and the number one under the sun, Sasaki. And so, Deku, he works on growing Shiva's arms, because it still is pretty painful for him. But, anywho. So, we time skip, 4 years. Deku, he's training. Hana, she had went up to, Mount Fuji as her final test. And she has to survive a night there, is what she tasked herself. And she sees a man holding a halberd, swinging it across the sky, as he yells, "Sky Eater!" And the sky gets slashed in half. And Deku, he remembers her. Not very well, but he remembers her. But, Deku, he looks down, and he looks and sees Hana. Wearing a hoodie and some sweatpants. And a, oxygen restricting mask. It's a real thing. Let me show you a picture. But yeah, these. She has this one on specifically. But yeah. And she notices he's wearing, I think she gave him like a little, friendship ring that she made using her light. So, I'm gonna say his looks like this. And hers is I honestly have no clue. Let's just say it's this one. And she says, Izuku? He says, huh? And he looks over and he sees Hana, the baddie herself. And she says, hey, where have you been? And she starts like crying. He says, huh, I've been up here, away from her. What do you mean, her? And he says, that detestable wretch, Inko. And she says, why would you want to be away from your mother? Don't you love her? And he's like, I hate her. She's the reason why my dad is dead and gone. Because Inko gave Hisashi lung cancer. But Deku, he says, and if you want me to come down there with you, you'll have to beat me. Senseless. I don't care if you use your quirk or whatever. And Deku, he's just wearing this getup. No shirt. He's wearing the, like little captain's cloak. That I said. And she rips off her hoodie. And she says, alright, I don't care if I have to bring you home in a body bag, Izuku. And he says, it's Lubu. Get it right. And she says, Lubu, Izuku, whatever. I'm gonna bring you back to the way you were. And he says, I was always like this, Hana. It doesn't matter. Whether or not I was kind to you in the past. Fight me using your full power. Da-da-da-da. She says, fallen angel. and wings sprout from her back like this. And she rushes at Deku. Deku, he already used Sasuke's ability. Well, more like a passive skill, but he sees her coming at him with his eyes closed. He dodges. And he kicks her in the stomach. Like how Gon did Pito. And she goes flying up into the air. It looks like Deku teleported. He raises both his hands up into one fist. Or into like a ball. So like raises both of his hands and locks them together. And hits her down to the ground. And then before she hits the ground, he gets her by the back of like her sports bra, throws her up into the air, launches at her, hits her with the blunt end of the halberd, so the one that's on the ground closest to Lubu's feet in this picture. And he says, "Deliverance." Which this is my own move that I'm giving Deku. Lubu nor any of them have this. Then goes. Boom. And like her arm and like her wings are all tattered. She can't use her left arm. And she says, like I said, Izu. And she's like panting. I won't leave you. Even if I break every bone in my body. And Lubu and everybody appeared in front of Deku, and they said, "There, you have reason to return, to become a hero." And he says, "That is no reason. That is a falsehood." And they were all surprised by this statement, and he says, "I don't trust it. I trusted my mother enough not to kill my father. And yet he died because of her actions." Deku, he launched at her. He creates Shiva's bottom two arms. And Deku, he's already a 7-1. He's pummeling her at this point. And he's just saying, "I will never come back. Not ever again." And he's like telling her while he's hitting her, and he's like crying the entire time. And he's just like sitting on her stomach and just pounding away at her face. And he's just telling her the entire thing. And he like finally stops. And he's just crying, and he says, "I won't go back. Not after all she's did." And Hana, she raises her right arm. And like, she switched to like her angelic form, and she heals like all of her injuries. And she has her right arm touch Deku's cheek, and she says, I understand why you wouldn't want to come down, but please, for me. And Deku, he's crying and he says, fine, have it your way. He gets off of her, picks her up, and he says, sorry, Hana. And she says, it's okay, and he hugs her and just starts crying his eyes out. What will happen next time on Dragon Ball Z? Bye.